Hello, hello, hello. I'm back. I'm about to invite Marcus again so we can start the real life talk like we did the last time. Give me a second. Yes. Let's wait just one moment till Marcus joins.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm good. Fingers crossed this time. Nothing goes wrong right from the start.
Absolutely.
Okay, get started. I already see some people joining. Do you see them?
Let me see.
Because I know last
Yeah,
time, yeah, some technical.
I can see people joining. Yeah, last time it cut off about midway through to where I couldn't see the comments anymore.
Uh-huh. Redeemed RDZ says repent and believe in the gospel. Okay,
Amen.
nice. All right, let's get it started. Maybe we, keep the quick introduction each time we go live because I feel like new people are joining. So, hey everyone, my name is Esme and I'm a corporate project manager. I've been working in corporate for the last decade, and that's how I know Marcus. We work for the same company, basically a automotive luxury brand. And yeah, that's literally the topic of the life today. But before we start, over to you, Marcus.
Yeah, yeah. Marcus, also in the corporate environment with SMA, project manager or executive business manager, like whatever you want to call it. We're both in executive offices and everything. And yeah, been with the company 15 years now in the automotive industry, and ready to talk about it.
All right. So there's been a lot going on in the automotive sector, branch, or whatever you might want to call it. Just like in many other areas of this world, a lot of restructuring going on, saving costs, and it's definitely affecting people in their lives. Also affecting Marcus and myself, just the way we're observing how things are going. And for me personally, having worked for the same company for the last decade, I unfortunately have to say I don't recognize the company anymore and the brand that it used to stand for, the culture that it used to represent. And that's just so sad because I was always a big believer in the brand. I still am, but with the way things are being handled, it's really tough to keep the faith that things are being handled in the right way. Um, so we wanted to choose this topic to talk about corporate life today. There definitely are advantages and disadvantages to anything in life, just like corporate life. Um, for me, definitely the what actually led me to join corporate was, my upbringing, security, safety. So my parents were always pushing me to go to college, finish college, and then find a job that makes money and that's safe and secure. That's just me, being raised by immigrant parents and second generation. Um, so that brought me to corporate, and I had very, very good experiences so far, with, you know, being promoted, being seen, being put in rooms and places and jobs where I can show myself and I can contribute and I'm being heard and I don't just have to do what I'm being told all the time. Um, and that literally enabled me to climb the corporate ladder. But I truly believe in the fact that you have to have someone, and it's enough to have only one person that believes in you and that pushes you and that puts you in these rooms so you get to elevate. And there are many benefits, not just the security and you being able to make a career, make a living out of this. There's also you getting to do trainings and it's getting all paid for. You developing yourself. You also learning a lot of methods I think I would not have learned if I didn't work in corporate. But when I look at how things are going right now, and I look at certain aspects of where the cost savings are happening because of poor management decisions in the past, they're saving on the wrong ends or on the wrong parts, like personnel and talented, motivated people that want to climb the ladder. And it's currently not happening. Literally, in my company, they paused the program for top talents to become managers entirely. In my opinion, this is the wrong mindset, wrong method, or wrong way to handle what's currently going on to save costs. I feel like, and I'm being very blunt about this, I feel like they should do an audit of the current management to see if managers are still um, you know, fulfilling all the requirements to be managers, because I see so much poor leadership and it's literally frustrating. And I know I'm speaking for many people out there. What do you think about all of this, Marcus?
No, I absolutely agree. I got into corporate at 20 years old, so I've been with the company. I said 15 years, so it's 15 years full time, but I actually been there 16 years because I started as a contractor for the first 15 months, which doesn't count as your service anniversary. So I'm always like a truly a year behind, but I've been up there since 20 years old, so literally just a baby. Didn't have an education background, no degree or anything like that. So just learn everything as I go. And I would say I would agree with you 100%. Like when I first started with the company, the culture that it was then is nothing like the culture that it is now. And it just seems like whenever COVID happened or whatever, like things just gone downhill ever since then, with the cost cutting methods and what we cost cut from just doesn't make sense sometimes too. Because we'll say there's no travel or we need to cut back on a holiday party and stuff like that. But then we see the executives traveling every other week. And when they're traveling overseas, those tickets can cost like $7,000, $8,000 for business class, first class, like whatever they choose to fly on. So it's like, what are you telling your people at the end of the day? It's no different from raising children and stuff like that. Like, do your words match your actions? I can tell my kids XYZ, but then I'm doing something completely else. They're not going to listen to me at the end of the day. They're going to look at my actions. Do they truly want to follow me? So when you said find the person that you truly want to work for, like that's big and key. Some of the best people that I know have been within the company. So I wanted to work for them versus working for that certain department, that certain role. Um, and they've helped me grow in so many different ways, whether it be communication, being organized, this different skill sets and all that stuff. And I try to tell people all the time, like, just master the basics within the corporate culture. Like, so many people get caught up in stuff because, like, here in the US, we got a lot of people that have their PhD, have their masters. I'm sure it's like that everywhere. Have their bachelors, have an associate's. Like, I don't have any of that, so it always intimidated me at first. But then I had a mentor early on in the company that just told me to master the basics, like control the stuff that you can control, being on time, being available, prioritizing your schedule, being responsive to people, whether it be a phone call, email, all that type of stuff, attention to detail, problem solving, like stuff that I can control. I can get there on time, I can get there early. And a lot of stuff, like we talked about in the previous video, like I learned from just growing up playing football or coming from a military family. Like if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, it's unacceptable. So just doing stuff like that. And I've noticed like a lot of people just don't have the work ethic and don't work hard. And they want to rely on credentials and stuff that they had in the past versus put in the work. But I think like when we see the corporate environment and the executives and the decisions that they make, they rely on a lot of that stuff too much and don't focus on the people. and then don't even know how to develop people at the end of the day. Just like you talked about the leadership program that got taken away, huge mistake because that's the future of this company. The people leading this company right now are in their 50s and 60s. They're not going to be around in the next 10 to 15 years. We would be the ones running the company at that time. So are you growing us and preparing us and all that type of stuff? So it's all key.
Exactly. You just said something. Knowing how to lead people, knowing how to treat people. I think that's so key. And when I look at management, and I say management, I don't say leadership or leaders, because I don't see a lot of times, almost like 80% or maybe even more. I'm sorry to say, but I don't see leaders,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, yeah, this is literally, it's just a topic I could go on and on and on. For me, the only reason why I'm still in the company, honestly, is because I do have an amazing boss. I do have amazing, my boss's boss and my boss's boss's boss, because they believe in me, they see me, they appreciate my work. Because I know what I bring to the table. And as long as that gets appreciated, I will be by your side, you know. That's so key. And I see like how other people get treated in other departments or other teams. And when I look at their managers or their bosses, I'm like, sorry, but that person is not eligible for this role. And it's causing so much damage that you can't even reverse this, because people get frustrated and they get to a point where they're like, they no longer believe in the brand and the company, and they just do the bare minimum. And I don't think this leads to efficiency. So if you want to start somewhere, if you want to start saving costs, you should start here. Like, you should start there. You should look at what type of managers or leaders do I have in the company. And this is something that nobody is bold enough to do, in my opinion. Um, so that's one thing. And then the other thing, as we're speaking about corporate life in general, besides what's going on currently, being a woman in a corporate world and trying to climb that corporate ladder and make a career, especially, I want to emphasize that too, especially with a migration background. I was born and raised in Germany. I work in Germany. A lot of people were even thinking I'm half German because of the way I articulate myself. Um, like, yeah, I am half German. That's half of my identity. Um, but I was facing a lot of discrimination, basically, because I'm a woman, I am young, and I do bring certain things to the table that others did not bring or do not bring to the table at this age, which is leadership, um, discipline, being responsible, caring for people, caring that the right things are being done or doing the things in a right way. So all of these things are, things that make like my personality, I think, relevant for a leadership role. But because we do have boomers, like 50-plus-year-old people in the company, leading the company, and they have a different mindset. And I'm trying not to judge them, because they literally, that's just how they've learned it. But on the other hand, you have to be a little more open-minded, and you have to develop yourself and see the new things coming. Like, you can't just be stuck in that old mindset and be like, oh, this is how we've always done it. This is how we've done it for the last 20, 25 years. No, I'm sorry, but that doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to literally hear the word no a lot of times, because I wasn't old enough, I wasn't experienced enough in an area, in a topic. Basically, I wasn't a subject matter expert, because that's how people were promoted to managers back in the days, because they knew one area so well, and they didn't even look at the real qualities that a manager or a leader actually needs. So that's one thing. The other thing, as I said, my background, I feel like back in the days, I have a feeling it's getting better. It's improving nowadays, since we have more and more people being integrated, with migration background, being integrated into the system. And when I look at the generation coming now after us, Gen Z, it's a lot of like mixed kids, mixed cultures, and people are just getting used to seeing that more and more. So it's becoming a normal thing, luckily, thank God. But I definitely, had to do more, had to fight to be seen more than someone that is basically from here, or I am from here, but like that basically looks more German than I do. So this is something that nobody speaks about.
Yeah.
Nobody speaks about this, but I want to speak up because I have gone through these things and it's not nice. It does something to you if you don't have a strong character. And these are things I had to work on, not to take personally, because this has literally nothing zero to do with me and my personality, but that person that was judging me.
No, thank you for sharing that and agree 1,000% because I faced a lot of the same challenges, just being a black male here in America and just starting with the company at 20 years old and everything. And people don't take you as serious starting out young like that. And then, being black and trying to navigate through corporate America already has its obstacles on top of that as well. Um, by the way, congratulations on making it where you've made it already, and myself too, at a young age, fighting through all that, regardless of what it is, and persevering and having that dog mentality that I've talked about, determination, attitude, willingness, and go getter. Like
Yeah.
no matter what it is that you go through, like yeah, it's tough. Life is tough. Life is supposed to be tough, but it sucks at the end of the day of how the culture can be, and just these worldly systems that we're put within that just make no sense sometimes on how the culture can be, and just how they saw things back then. And yeah, we do see it slowly changing. Like I can't wait till it's our generation that is the executives in these companies because we see life so differently and able to look at everybody at an even playing field and don't even care about a whole bunch of
Mhm.
that type of stuff that held people back in the past, which is why we have to have these DEI programs and all that type of stuff. And there's so much backlash and pushback and all that stuff. And part of what helped me so early on in the company is just being honestly just ignorant to the corporate culture and not knowing any better. Like I would talk to executives the same way I would go talk to my friends. And I always hear the executives now say they want people to talk to them like a normal person, and everyone is so afraid to talk to executives. I didn't know that because as a teenager, like I worked in warehouses doing shipping and receiving as a teenager, so I was never in corporate environment. So when I got in at 20 years old, like I still carry that same mentality and stuff like that. Like when I first started the company, that was when I first started having collar shirts and button down shirts and nice shirts. But I had on a gold chain outside of the shirt and my stud earrings. So when I had mentors, they were like, you can't move like that. You can't operate like that up here. So I had to refine myself and learn how to navigate through the corporate culture as well as with that. And I hate too, like culturally with all this stuff, because if you speak well, they're like, oh, you articulate yourself very well. If you talk to somebody on the phone, like I used to talk to dealers and I know how to pronounce your words and everything like that. And then when I meet them in person for the very first time, they're like, oh, you don't look like what I thought you would look like.
Wow.
Well, they're referencing, oh, I thought I was going to meet a white person. But if you,
I've ex-
but if you talk to other people, yeah, like it's a catch 22 because you get people, especially within the black culture, it's like, oh, you got to sound black, talk black, act black. I'm like, what is that at the end of the day? And then on the other side, it's like, oh, you articulate yourself very well. I didn't expect you to act like that. Like, did you expect a dumb person to show up today? Like, it's just a catch 22 to have to like a fine line between that there. Because a business resource group within the company I lead that is for the Black and African American employees. And you hear it a lot on there too. About what people have to go through, the obstacles and stuff like that. So I'm the co-chair of that group. And I kind of have to be brought in the middle and play both sides to be that liaison uh, for both sides as well too, and that's can be a difficult position because you'll have your own culture give you backlash and be like, "Oh, you're not standing up for us hard enough," or "You're not acting enough a certain way," and all that type of stuff. Or you got the executives, "Oh, don't be too aggressive, don't say stuff." Like it's hard to navigate through it, and honestly, like if people can find something to do that's not in the corporate space, is the best option out of them all. Like my brother was able to do.
True. Yeah, I mean, by all means, if you can start your own thing, do it. Because at the end of the day, then you know what you're doing it for. You have a clear purpose. This is your baby, your own business you built from the ground. Um, and nobody can take that away from you, honestly, because we in corporate, we are replaceable for sure. Of course we get paid for what we're doing. So there's a contract there, right? So it makes sense. And
Real,
there
real
are
quick on that
yeah,
though, when you said we're replaceable, that is 1,000% true because it is just a system at the end of the day. They will act like they want to grow you, care about you, all that stuff. If we pass away tomorrow, they're going to hire somebody for our positions next week and keep it
correct.
moving. Like
And this
the
goes for
companies do not care about you.
yeah, this goes for any corporation. So it's just how the way it is. In fact, I don't think we're saying anything new here.
Mm-hmm.
But just to quickly go back to, the jobs that you and me were in or are in, having worked our way up to work in executive offices, that's major, it's huge. I think we are great examples that it's possible, even though we look different. We don't look different. We just bring all the qualities to the table that you're supposed to have if you want to be successful. And we have in German there's a saying, we have the heart at the right spot, basically. Like we care, we do the right things, we are big on faith because I always say a man or a woman of God, we we know better than to do certain things. So um that's really and I was always really proud of that I'm an example to show people it is possible. Just do all the right things. Just keep on doing it. Don't get discouraged by some foul feedback from somebody that thinks you need to look a certain way to be successful in a corporate space. Also, I remember myself because we're speaking about cultural differences and all that. That it's really hard sometimes to navigate through that. I think it's really important to find a middle ground and have good reasons as to why you're doing the things that you're doing. For me, it was always important to represent as many groups as I could. So I remember myself moderating a town hall meeting 2 years ago when I was here in Germany before I went to the US. And it was around, I think it was in April. And in that year specifically, April 2022, actually, it was 3 years ago. Time flies. Anyways, in April 2022, we had a town hall meeting, and that was the time when all three religions, so Christianity, Islam, and basically the Jews, were celebrating a holiday around that time. And I recognize that. I wish everybody, whatever holiday they're celebrating at that time, happy holidays, happy Ramadan, or whatever it was. And I don't know anybody that did that before. Like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, especially here in Germany. And I don't know how it is in the US. I know Christian holidays definitely get celebrated, and Jewish holidays get celebrated, and it's big because there are a lot of Jewish people out there. But I've never heard anybody saying anything about Ramadan, for example, which is sad because there are a lot of Muslim people out there too. And for me, it's just important to represent all these groups because I know majority of the people that not majority, but the majority of the minority um, is Muslim in the company. So why not recognize that group? And it's not that hard to do that, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's the other downfall or of the corporate space because here in America, Like they don't want you to talk about religion within the workplace, um, which honestly makes no sense when we think about the stuff that we celebrate as a corporate environment and stuff like that. Like, what is wrong with bringing God into the workplace and having your faith versus speaking about and doing a whole bunch of BS at the end of the day? Just like I have to be, I feel like I have to suppress my faith sometimes within the workplace, like versus being my true Christian self at all times. Before COVID, like we actually used to have Bible studies in the office on Wednesdays during lunchtime at noon, and then whoever wanted to join would go into a conference room, and we would study the Word together. And you would actually have people saying, "Oh, you're doing that on company time and all this stuff?" Like, no, it's our lunchtime. We booked the room, and people are choosing to go into a conference room versus sitting at the table eating their lunch. So you get it's like you get more backlash with having your faith in the workplace, but then the company is very perfectly fine with celebrating Pride Month and having flags all over the building. Like I didn't ask to celebrate that. So I didn't ask to participate in any of that. You're just throwing that on me everywhere. Like, I don't believe in any of that stuff. I don't treat them any differently than any other person. I just don't believe in the lifestyle. I don't believe with the practices. I don't believe in any of that stuff. So it's hard to navigate through that with the faith and everything like that. But I'll still speak up and speak about it. And I love what you did with the town hall there, with representing
Mhm.
all the different cultures and religions and stuff like that. We need more people speaking up and having that boldness within the workplace. Because I'll meet so many different people like outside of work, and I'm like, oh, you're a believer? Like you believe in God? Like you don't act anything like that inside of the office,
Mhm.
especially like at the executive level, because they have to go along with all the different agendas that are going along, even if they don't agree with it.
Mhm.
So you see them wearing certain T-shirts and holding up banners and doing all types of stuff, and then you talk to them on the side, they don't even truly believe what they're promoting.
Mhm.
So that's part of what holds me back of even wanting to become
Mhm.
an executive in the corporate space in the future and just wanting to get out of corporate altogether because of the stuff that it's just a machine that you're part of at the end of the day. And I've always had to tell myself, like, there's nothing that you're truly going to change within a company because the system it's just so much bigger than you and I. Like, we're literally just a kite dancing through a hurricane
Yeah.
when you try
Yeah.
to push back against the system and all that type of stuff versus just owning and having your own stuff in space.
Absolutely. And having worked, I mean, you're still working in the executive office, but having worked in the executive office, you hear and see so many things. So when we're speaking about these things, it's not made up. It's literally things that are happening, but nobody wants to speak about. So, and I do believe also in the fact that if you want to do stuff around diversity, you need to do it right, like the right way, like include everyone and not just like one group of people. Um, I also find it sad what you touched on about having to hide parts of your personality. For me, it was the same. I always felt like I had to look professional, and looking professional for me was to hide my background, being literally like originally Turkish, Muslim. Um, Also, believing in certain things, or that I don't eat certain foods because of my belief. So all of that is just like it's sad, and honestly, what I did at that town hall, that was only thanks to my vice president that I work closely with, because I was his assistant and I felt so comfortable working with him. He's such an amazing person, and I know he cares for people, and felt I just felt it's okay that I can be myself around him. I had the empowerment and basically the autonomy to speak the way I want to speak, to touch on certain topics. Like, he was not micromanaging at all. And that's a huge thing because a lot of managers out there, again, I'm not saying leaders because these are not leaders in my eyes, they're micromanaging, controlling, And that's just not supposed to be. I know there are people you need to lead a little closer. That's how we call it. Because they need that, you know? They need some more structure. And that's okay, but you don't have to do that with everyone. Give people their freedom to shape the company because that's what you hired them for. Literally.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
let them unfold their talents. Let them like contribute. Like, there's no reason to micromanage. That's a problem that you have to deal with yourself because that's something that comes from whatever you're fearing. I don't know. Like, you need to go and work on that. Literally.
Yeah, absolutely. You've touched on managers versus leaders a couple times now when you've talked. And I just want to talk about that a little bit more too, because I'm big on that as well. And for those watching or may watch later, like you may be asking, like, what's the difference between a manager and a leader? Like a manager is literally just somebody that tells you what to do with no direction and stuff like that. Leaders show you what to do and how to do it, and will walk you through the process. So managers just tell you, anybody can say, hey, go do that, blah, blah, blah. No direction at all. Like a leader is someone that's going to stand in the gap with you, show you what to do, walk you through the process, train you, teach you, lead you every single step of the way, and help groom you, be a mentor to you, like all that stuff. Like I love the VP that I work for now. Really, both VPs that I work for. The one I worked for previously, like it was during COVID, so we're at the house wearing hoodies, t-shirts, and everything, just like I'm wearing right now. And I would have on my chain, but I would get in the habit, like this cultural mindset. Oh, let me tuck it in. Don't show that type of stuff. And me and him were on a one-on-one meeting, and he had just got on the Zoom call or the Teams call, and I was tucking it in. And he said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, just tucking in my chain." He's like, "You don't have to hide your faith around me." So I love that statement. He was not a believer at all, but he also didn't hold me back from having my beliefs in the workplace. And he's like, you don't have to hide your beliefs around me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go ahead and pull it back out
Oh,
and
man.
show your chain, show
I
your
love
cross, and wear it. And then the VP that I work for now, um, I love him. You know, you love him too.
uh,
he,
I like him a lot.
yeah, I mean,
Amazing.
he allows me the autonomy to do what I want. A lot of the stuff that you were speaking about,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like that, what makes what my job and my position, my role, fun to do, and not having somebody look over my shoulder each and every step of the way. Like, yeah, we're going through a lot of hard times this year, worldwide through the company, and a lot of rumors going on and all that type of stuff. So you don't know what to believe, who to trust, and all that type of stuff. So that part's been hard, but still having that flexibility and the autonomy to do your actual role has been a blessing at the end of the day as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, as I said before, the only reason why I'm still with the company is literally my boss was a great leader. She's amazing. Her boss, amazing woman. She's also believing in me and supporting me and, you know, giving me encouragement, although it is tough times currently, especially for someone who wants to move up and who wants to do more, you know, who wants to pour into the company, but is basically not allowed to. And then obviously also my vice president, I love him to death, honestly, like amazing person. I know he cares for the people. I know he appreciates the work being done in his area. And you can feel that. You can feel that. Like you can't, you know, if somebody's faking something. So having worked for him, having worked with him closely in the executive office is literally, I'm speaking proof that he's an amazing leader. And those are the reason, or this is the reason why I'm still here. Besides, like obviously there are good things in corporate too. You know, if you're sick, like you know you're good. You don't have to wonder, oh my clients, I have to like be good or whatever. I have to like do some work, so I don't lose my clients because when you're self-employed, that's literally things you have to think about. So and other benefits like health insurance. You know, these things might sound little, but they're not little things, honestly. So I do appreciate having the chance to work in corporate. Grateful for all the learnings, grateful for all the trainings that I got to be part of, and also grateful for all the job opportunities abroad. Like this company brought me, you know, all around the world and not just one country, literally three different countries. And also being able to just experience amazing leaders and not so amazing managers that I've learned a lot from. So, as you said, life is not supposed to be easy. You learn the most when you fail, you learn the most when you suffer. It's all part of the process. Um, that's just the way it is. And I'm grateful for all the experiences, honestly, at the end of the day. But also, I know if you have the power to do your own thing, by all means, like do it, and don't let anybody tell you you cannot do it because you know you can.
Absolutely. Believe in yourself. And yeah, I agree. There's a lot of positive stuff within the corporate space. That's not all negative and everything like that. Like a lot of the places that I've been, a lot of the places that I traveled would have probably never happened if it wasn't for the company that we work for. The people that I've met, like me and you, having a relationship now and a friendship, like would have never happened if it wasn't for the company that
Yeah.
we work for and being able to travel and all that type of stuff. And like you talked about the benefits, like yeah, it seems little, but it seems little until something happens to you. And you know, I experienced stuff in my past marriage to where yeah, those benefits played a huge role to where I saw the benefits that were needed from a health standpoint, um, and all that type of stuff. So a lot of benefits, like you get the safety net with your salary and the pay versus being self-employed and having to go out and start at a blank slate every single month, or not having that sense of security, um, time off, like PTO, paid time off, being able to take off during the holidays or whenever you want to throughout the year,
And that's a
is nice. And then, yeah,
here, especially here in Germany. I know y'all don't get that much compared to here. I think it's 15 days or so in the US. In Germany, literally 30 days, that's 6 weeks. You get to take off 6 weeks and you don't have to worry because you will have a deputy to take care of the work. That's literally that's luxury. So
yeah,
of course you have to you're in a in a structured environment, which structure is a good thing on the one hand, but on the other hand it can also make you feel like you're a prisoner in there. You know, you don't get to shape and contribute as much as you want, especially when I compare it to being an entrepreneur. You have all the possibilities to do whatever you want to do. And if you decide you don't want to work for a whole month and just go travel the world, you can do so, which in Germany you could do that even with corporate or within corporate, but only to a certain extent. So definitely a lot of pros, a lot of cons. It's just at the end of the day, the question, what do you want? Is your job still fulfilling you? And are your bosses basically, are they leaders and are they appreciating your work? That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
you're fine. I like, did she cut me off?
No.
I'm just messing with you.
Oh, I had to bring that comment because in Germany, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's real big. Yeah, the US, I think yeah, we do start around 15 days and then it increases with your years of service. So I'm currently at 28 days. So I'm close to that 30 now, just being with the company for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you get increases based on the level that you're at as well.
Oh, that's
So
a
that
big.
helped me get to the 28.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't ever use them all at the same time. Plus, when you're in the executive office, as you know, like it's too hard to use that amount of time altogether because there's always something going on. There's always some firestorm. There's always some presentation that gets put together. There are always this extra phone that they give you that they're
I
tied to
hope
through
you
phone.
cut when you're on vacation. So.
Absolutely, you gotta disconnect on vacations and give it all away. Like I think that's what our management and executives don't do much enough of, and they need to disconnect more
Mm-hmm.
versus being on 24/7. It may sound fun, it may sound cute, but it's not at the end of the day. And it can also affect your personal lives, your personal well-being, like all that type of stuff. And I think they put those expectations sometimes on their employees, which doesn't make it a fun culture or fun environment for that person either, because now you're putting that same stress on that person and they didn't ask for it. Like
Yeah,
if you're going to Jamaica for a week, go enjoy Jamaica for a week. The company's not going to burn down. If it burns down over one person, we didn't have the right strategy, we didn't have the right structure and all that stuff put in place from the get-go. If that's the case, of the company burns down over one person. Like we're not running a donut shop with just two people running it and then one person's gone for a week. Like we're talking about thousands of people here in a corporate environment in a building across 90 plus countries that we operate in.
correct. Absolutely. But okay, I've seen some more people join towards the end now. I think we should wrap up. If you guys have missed majority of this live, we're going to upload the video later on, so you can always go back and watch it. We spoke about a lot of good and bad things within the corporate space and in corporate life that we have experienced and what's currently going on. So yeah, hope y'all liked this, and I really enjoyed it. Once again, thank you, Marcus, for joining and for doing
Thank
this
you.
real life talk with me. A lot to touch on, and it doesn't end. So we're gonna continue doing this format, and I'm excited for it.
Now, appreciate it. I'm excited as well. Thank you for having me once again. Excited to do more topics, and we got a lot to touch on. But yeah, just like you said, the corporate environment, like whatever works best for you at the end of the day, is the decision that you have to make. Don't go along with what other people are doing. Don't get caught up in what you see on social media from people with the flashy lifestyles and everything like that. It's not what it's cracked up to be at the end of the day. So just go out there, do what's best for you and your family, and make it happen for yourself.
Okay.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great one.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye.